All right, I think we can start now. You have the majority of the participants in. Okay, hi everyone. Just wanted to check, can everyone hear me? Give a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, welcome everyone. Hope everyone is feeling okay today. My name is Hizam, part of the Sharing a Vision organizing team. And today you are attending the YSEALI Sharing a Vision Exploration workshop on mindfulness as a survival guide. Before we start, let's go through some safety and ground rules. Okay, first of all, let's have some situational awareness. So please be mindful of your surroundings. Wherever you are joining the call from, please ensure your surroundings are safe. If you think you left the stove open or the iron from doing your laundry this morning, make sure those are closed. For those with young children, make sure they are supervised while you are on this call. Lastly, make sure you prioritize any safety critical matters and attend to them if required. Next up, physical safety and ergonomics. As this workshop is around 2 hours long, make sure you're seated comfortably and seated up straight. If you can, make sure you have adequate lighting to prevent eye strain. Lastly, don't be afraid to stand up once in a while to stretch and shake your arms and legs. So we do request you to mute your microphone unless instructed otherwise, but we do encourage you to speak up when asked for, or use the chat, or I think Jira has a Jamboard link for you, and contribute. Lastly, if you haven't already done so, please turn on your cameras if you are comfortable so you can see everyone's faces and make it more interactive. Okay, so what is YSEALI Sharing a Vision? Sharing a Vision is a project that consists of two series, Sharing a Vision Connect and Sharing a Vision Exploration. Sharing a Vision Connect is a series, is an online format where speakers are invited to share their knowledge and challenges on the trends in various industries and topics. On the other hand, Sharing a Vision Exploration is a more hands-on approach where we invite participants to dive deeper into the topic. Normally, we would do this face-to-face, but because of the current pandemic situation, we have to convert it into an online format as well. As you know, this is a U.S. Embassy in Brunei sponsored event. So let's play a quick message from the Public Affairs Officer, Jeff Barris, from the U.S. Embassy.
Hello, YSEALI. My name is Jeff Barris, and I'm the Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy in Brunei Darussalam. The U.S. Embassy is proud to support YSEALI's Sharing a Vision program. Last December, I helped launch the first webinar in this series, and today I'm proud to kick off the final webinar. Thank you and congratulations to the organizing team of YSEALI Sharing a Vision, led by Afig Muhammad. This program has invited leading professionals from different industries to share their experiences and challenges, especially during the ongoing global pandemic. This final webinar will focus on the environment. I urge you to draw upon past experiences, what you've learned throughout the webinars, and your own passion and commitment to make a difference in our world. And share your experiences and commitment with friends, family, and colleagues. The more dedicated people we have, the better. Before I conclude, please don't forget to share your webinar takeaways on your social media and to tag us at US Embassy BSB and at YSEALI_official. Happy learning, everyone.
Okay. can we request everyone to turn on their cameras very briefly? We're going to take a quick photo since everyone is here. Jim or Jimmy, will you be able to do that on your side? And let me know once that is done.
Jim, can you help out? I don't think you can do the full screen because of the slides.
I'll stop sharing the screen for a bit. Yeah?
All right.
Let's have everyone.
Okay, I can see everyone now.
Whenever everyone's ready. Happy big smiles in 3, 2, 1. One more time. Big smiles. 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jim, for organizing that. Okay, let's have the slide back up briefly. Okay, just a quick introduction. As you know, the topic of this workshop is mindfulness as a survival guide. So due to the recent lockdown in Brunei, there has been a lot of discussion on mental health. Many people are dealing with anxiety over COVID. Everyone's working from home. This is typical, and you are not expected to fix these issues independently. There are several ways that we can do to help us relax and unwind, and those will be outlined in this workshop. And for this session, our facilitator from More to Bloom, Nadzirah, will be guiding us in this mindfulness workshop. And with that, let's have everyone give her a virtual clap or thumbs up in welcoming our facilitator. All right, hand it over to you, Jira.
Thank you, Hizam. Okay, so I'm going to quickly share that Jamboard link again, just so everyone can have it prepared. We're going to go back and forth between Zoom and the Jamboard, okay? But for now, we'll go, hang on. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. All right. Okay. Welcome, guys, to Mindfulness as a Survival Guide. I'm going to just take a deep breath. I'm really glad to see you guys here, especially those who have joined our recent Mind to Mind sessions. I noticed a lot of your names, so it's nice to see you in a session that's conducted by me. So first of all, thank you. Before I begin, I know Hizam went through some ground rules for this session and some safety as well. I also have my own ground rules, which is number 1, to respect others. So that means, you know, being kind, being courteous, and being mindful of your language as well. Protecting confidentiality, privacy. We all know what we want to get out of this session, so just respect that others also want to be respected the same way you do. Number 2 is to respect yourself. So with this, what I mean is that we all have our own boundaries, right? We all have our own line where we don't want to cross in terms of sharing certain things about ourselves or about our experiences. So sometimes it can get overwhelming and you might feel pressure to share just because everyone seems to be sharing easily, but that's all right. Don't put that pressure on yourself. I certainly won't put that pressure on you. Just keep in mind what your boundaries are. That's a way for you to respect yourself. The third one is to respect the space. So again, what Hizam said was, this is the space for learning and exploration. So there's a lot of different experiences here, a lot of different people with different opinions and ideologies. That's okay, you know, if you don't agree with something somebody says, that's completely fine. That's expected and it's normal. So just respect the space for what it is, a place for people to share and learn about each other. Hope that makes sense to everyone so far. All right, gonna start by letting you know what we're gonna cover in the next 2 hours. So first we're gonna talk, I just wanna hear from you guys as well. Like, what are your mental health struggles during this time? And then we'll move on to learning the basics of mindfulness. So I had a look at the list of people who signed up, and I see a lot of different people from different occupations. So I feel like some of you might already know a little bit about mindfulness just because of your profession, whereas some people, this might be your first time learning about it. Either way, that's okay. We're just gonna cover the basics and how you can use it solely for this pandemic. I don't want to go too deep into it because I can spend hours and hours and hours talking and sharing about mindfulness, but this is meant to be just the basics. And then moving on to the survival guide, so the mental survival guide, or how to use mindfulness to kind of protect your mental well-being during this time. And then lastly, how do we move on from here on out? What can we do once we leave this session? Yeah. So mental health struggles. What emotions have you been struggling with during COVID? So at this point, I'd like you guys to open up that Jamboard link, and you can see this exact question on the Jamboard. And I'm gonna just show you. This is the Jamboard. Yes, so this is the first page, and if you can see on the left-hand side, there is a tool that says sticky note, a button that says sticky note. So that's where you can click, type up your answer, and stick it somewhere on this page. So just let me know, what emotions have you personally been struggling with? Okay, we can move this around. Fear, anxiety, a lot of anxiety there, loneliness, heartbreak. Oh, we don't have to write it out. There's a sticky note button there. So this is all anonymous, so you can feel free to be as open as you want to. Burnout. Oh, there's a lot of anxiety, burnout, anxious. Yeah, sticky note. Extreme sadness. I'm so sorry to hear that. All right. Demotivated. Okay. All right. So moving back to the Zoom room. So what emotions have you been struggling with? Yeah, there's a lot of stress, overwhelmed, uncertainty, anxiety is a lot. Anger is something that people don't usually report, I notice, but you don't have to look very far to notice that people have been very angry too and very irritable. You might notice this at home or your coworkers, or just even online. You can see how many angry people there are expressing their frustration and irritability with one another. Yeah, so it's funny that people are usually very good at being aware that they're anxious and overwhelmed and stressed, but people aren't really good at noticing their anger and irritability. Nevertheless, it seems to be the case that there's higher levels of anger that people are experiencing. All right, the next page, what experiences are difficult for you during this time? So again, next page on the Jamboard, what experiences are difficult for you? Yeah, we're on the second Jamboard now, second page at the top. So there's a little arrow at the top. It says page 1 out of 7. Let's move on to page 2 out of 7. Yeah. Missing family and friends, trapped physically and mentally in my thoughts. Yes, I can totally imagine that. Not only are we experiencing being stuck, literally stuck at home, but also there's like a mental stuckness as well, because there's just lack of movement, right? Lack of difference in scenery, lack of social interaction, not being able to go to restaurants. Yeah, all those little pleasures as well. A change in routine. Change in routine is something that personally for me really throws me off. If I don't have like a set routine, especially set meals and all that, I just feel like I've had a bad day, even though nothing bad happens. Socially awkward now. Difficulty juggling between social, family, work responsibilities, lack of progression. Can you clarify what kind of progression are you talking about there? Just social progression or just an everyday kind of progression?
That's actually from me.
Yes, hi Afik. Yeah, do you want to
Hi
clarify?
everyone. Yeah, so I think like this is more towards a professional kind of like aspect of it. So sometimes when you have a set of tasks that you normally do at the office, then you suddenly got hit by working from home. So all of your projects suddenly got shifted or postponed or canceled. So all the targets that you set for the year are kind of, it's either it's canceled or you're not doing it anymore, right? So that's what I meant, like lack of progression in one aspect. That's just on professional, but perhaps there's also other things on personal as well. But yeah, for now I think I'll share more towards that one.
Yeah, I can totally relate with that lack of progression, especially if you are managing projects and you have your timeline. That's going to be really hard, because a lot was on the line, right? Missing
Yeah.
and worrying family in Malaysia, feeling stuck in life and in achievements. Oh, overworking, difficult to create boundaries. Yeah, I think this is like a really common one, creating boundaries between work and life. Um, Not everyone's lucky enough to have a separate office at home, It's usually in a public living space in our house or in our bedroom, which is far from ideal. It's not really the best place to be doing work and also having meetings and stuff. Increased social media consumption, yeah, information overload can make you feel very overwhelmed. Online fatigue, I feel you. Adapting to change, yeah. People have access to your time, yes. So it seems like, when you have work, when you actually go to work, you're accessible only during work hours, but because you're at home, it's like the boundaries are very blurred. Trapped physically. I like that little happy one. New hobby though. We have a separate page for happy ones. But yes, this is nice to have something, a little sunshine there. Seeing everyone else suffering, yeah, that one is really hard, especially if you're seeing like on online people's experiences with COVID or family members with COVID or working as frontliners. That's really difficult to swallow. All right. Back to the Zoom. I'm sorry that at the moment I can't access the chat, but later during the break, I'll try to fix the technicalities. Yeah, what experiences are difficult? Yep, Corona itself, right? And everything that comes with it, the anxiety that comes with it, the feeling like it's out of your control. That's very stressful. It's a huge threat to, you know, our survival, not even our way of living, but it's our survival. Not seeing friends was really common, and working from home, the boundaries, social isolation. I'm surprised nobody said poor internet connection. I'm sure that is also the cause of a lot of irritability as well. Yes, so these were some of the things that I've been hearing from people. Boredom as well, just not knowing what to do with the time. All right, how do I know I'm struggling? Back to the Jamboard. Let's go back to this bit later, but back to the Jamboard. The next page. I can tell I'm struggling when so this requires a little bit of self-reflection and self-understanding. How can you tell when you're struggling? Okay, on the Jamboard, guys, on the 3rd page. Changes in eating behavior or appetite. Yes, so we had that discussion in one of the sessions. Eating too much is it can be an issue, and eating too little is a sign of you're struggling a little bit. Sleeping all day, sleep changes in sleep as well. So somebody said insomnia, can't sleep, and somebody else says just want to sleep all day. Stomach upset, procrastinate despite knowing I have a lot to do, crying more than usual. I'm so sorry that you're crying more than usual. I hope that it's not like an everyday thing. When my room is messy and I don't have the desire to clean it, yes, I really associate the state of my mental health with how my room is. So if I've been letting my room get messy, it's because I know I'm not in the best state of mind. Low in energy. When I'm unproductive, I can't get myself to do any work. Yeah, when I'm quiet. Ooh, that's an interesting one. When you're feeling quiet and you don't have much to share. Eating all day, increase in hair fall. Oh, that's interesting. It's a very physical thing. Feeling upset for no reason when I avoid thinking about something. Feel like my heart beats very fast and feels breathless. Okay, these are a lot of signs. This is really, I know these are quite serious issues, but I see this as a good sign that you're able to be aware of changes in your body, changes in your mood, and that to you is like, should ring like alarms in your head, you know, that you are struggling. Slacking in personal hygiene. Yeah, don't know who to talk to. Dry skin. That's an interesting one. Shut off everyone. Explode. This is a really interesting one. Shutting off everyone versus exploding on everyone. So I only learned this recently, is that when we get irritated, right, there's either two things that we do. We either shut off from the world, we internalize it and we shut off from the world, or we explode. It all goes out. Very external expression of emotions. And what I didn't know was that typically in Brunei, we don't really have that explosion one. Typically, because we're a collectivist society and we're very community-based, typically when we get stressed, overwhelmed, we shut off. Typically, we shut off from everyone. We don't want to burden anybody in our circle. Less passion in my hobby. Yep, go back to my past and remind myself how life used to be better. Feeling hopeless. Room reflects your state of mind, and my room is a mess. Yeah, unfortunately. Clouded by negative thoughts. I actually tend to overwork when I'm struggling. I might relate to that. Probably a lot of high achieving people relate to that overworking. I'm eyeing you, Afik. Afik, Hizam, and Jimmy. Everyone in the startup community. Probably tendency to overwork. Considering a career change, that's interesting. Right, I start to notice physical somatic symptoms in my body. So the sensitivity to not just your mental state is, to me, like I said, a really good sign. But if you're not super in tune with your mental state or emotional state, you can try to notice your physical changes. So somebody said hair fall, somebody said sleeping all day and dry skin, stomach upset. Those are still signs, physical signs that you should pay attention to as well and can signal like alarm bells when you are struggling. Okay. Great. So back to the Zoom. How do I know I'm struggling? You already know, you guys have shared, but if you still find it hard, like, I don't know, I just feel like crap, you can look at this very easy, simple list that I've gotten from our session on mental health first aid by Ilsa. So she has outlined just looking at 3 things: changes in appearance, changes in behavior, and changes in communication. So whether you're sharing all sorts of things to different people, or you're craving that communication, or you're not communicating at all. So watching out for changes in these 3 things, very, very simple. And all 3, I would say, are equally important. Yep, so these are some more that I've gathered from people. Lack of routine. I think all of these are pretty much that you guys have outlined already. I don't know if I saw self-care habits, numbness, but pretty much all of these have been shared by you guys. So this is like a time for us to really just kind of sit back and acknowledge that what you're going through, you're not alone in it. Whether you've been experiencing changes in appetite, in sleep, tummy upsets, you're socially withdrawn, you're not enjoying things that you used to enjoy, you're being emotionally reactive, or you're lacking that routine. I'm not going to say it's okay, but I want you to just take a moment to acknowledge that you are not alone in this. And the reason why we're all here right now on a Sunday afternoon is because we want to share and see, hey, are you also going through what I'm going through? The answer, as you can see, is yes. There are a lot of people going through what you're going through. All right, so we'll go straight into basics of mindfulness. Oh, before that, back to the Jamboard. Basics of mindfulness, next page. I just want to see what is your current understanding of mindfulness, if you know about mindfulness at all. Or if you don't know, you can just take a guess. So we're on the Jamboard on page 4. Nice. Being in the now, being in the moment, being aware of the present moment. Oh, wow. Living in the present. Very nice. Being fully aware of our doings. Empathy. Well, oof, you guys are so good. Taking care of our mind, focusing on the present moment, what you're doing, feeling. Yes. Letting go. Oh, somebody's been to my workshop, I think. Knowing that it's okay to not be okay. Living in the here and now. Checking on others. I like that. I like that a lot. Checking on others, that's a very much less of a me thing and more about taking care of others. And I like that. Feeling relaxed in the present moment, focused in the present moment, about being able to regulate. I like that word, regulate your feelings and emotions, to be more aware of your physical and mental status. You guys are really good. Yeah, so mindfulness is pretty much that. You are completely correct. There's many different ways, by the way, to define mindfulness. And once you learn about it and you know how to practice it and cultivate it, I'm very sure that you're going to have your own definition of mindfulness. Of course, there are official definitions, but I think what we should really be more concerned with is how does it apply to you, right? So if you know how mindfulness applies to you and you know what it means to you, you will definitely have your own definition. Okay, so this is like the official definition, right, of mindfulness, that it's a daily practice for our mental well-being. And there's two types of daily practice. There's the formal practice and then there's the informal practice. Take a guess, guys. So I can't see on chat, but can somebody just unmute and just guess what formal practice might mean? There's a big clue there. Hello?
Maybe making it as a routine.
Not quite. I understand where you're coming from, though. Not
meditation.
Quite. Meditation, yes, thank you so much. So yeah, formal practice is meditation, actually sitting down and meditating or doing your breathing practice. That's the formal way to practice mindfulness. But there's also an informal way. So this one is a little bit more vague. Does anybody want to guess?
Walking mindfully.
Sorry?
Walking, but with mindful, aware of the surrounding, of
yes.
our environment, like looking at the grass.
Yes, yes.
And as
That
well as
is
like washing dishes.
Yes, yes. You did some research or you already know about mindfulness, I can tell. Yeah, so informal practice is basically paying attention and observing the present moment, no matter what you're doing. So for example, washing dishes. So as you're washing dishes, you're not thinking about the future or you're not thinking about the past. You're just enjoying the sensation of washing the dishes. Well, you don't have to enjoy it. You can just observe. So that's one thing about mindfulness. It's not about feeling calm or relaxed necessarily. It's just about observation of what your current experience is, whether or not it's a pleasant experience or an unpleasant experience. So I hope that makes sense. So formal practice meditation, informal practice is the everyday things that you do and applying that present moment awareness to what you're doing. Yeah? Yes, so mindfulness is not just meditation, although when you read about mindfulness, a lot of people would classify mindfulness as meditation, mindful meditation. And I just want to give like a little disclaimer. When you're reading about mindfulness, just be aware of what they're talking about, because mindfulness is more of a broad umbrella term. It's like a bigger mental health concept, and meditation is a part of mindfulness. Yeah. So mindfulness is about slowing down and being present without resistance or judgment to what you are feeling and experiencing. So I want to share a little personal thing about me and mindfulness. The reason why I was really drawn to mindfulness and why I fell in love with it is because of how it allows you to just be. Like, you don't have to resist any of the thoughts or emotions you're feeling. You can just let it come to you, and you don't have to beat yourself up over them. You don't have to feel bad about the thoughts and emotions that come, because a lot of the times they're out of our control. So the only thing we can do is just to be aware and to observe that that's happening to you, that these thoughts or emotions are entering your brain and entering your body, and observing them and allowing them to pass when they're ready to pass. So that to me is why I really love mindfulness, is that it doesn't tell you to be happy all the time or be relaxed. It tells you to appreciate and accept your experience as it is. Yes. So this is personally how I view mindfulness, and these are parts of the official principles of mindfulness: awareness and acceptance. So I'll just share a little bit about awareness. Mindfulness invites us to be aware of our inner world and our outer world. So can anybody share with me what the inner world consists of? There's two things. Anybody just unmute, because I can't see the chat.
Our thoughts.
Our thoughts and?
Overthinking.
Our thoughts and thinking, same thing?
Thoughts and feelings.
Thoughts and feelings, yes. So mindfulness invites us to be aware of our inner world, so our thoughts and our feelings. What about our outer world? What can that mean?
Real life events.
Yeah, real life events. There's something else as well that constitutes our outer world.
Our physical self.
Yes, beautifully said. Our physical self. So not only does mindfulness tells us to pay attention to our thoughts and feelings, it's also telling us to pay attention to what's happening in our surroundings and also what sensations we're feeling in our body, right? So going back again to what I said, hey, how do you guys know you're struggling? Some of you mentioned your thoughts and your feelings, and some of you mentioned things that were happening to you. Some of you mentioned your physical symptoms. So already with that one question, you were already practicing mindfulness. You were aware of your inner world and your outer world. All right, so the next one is mindfulness encourages us to be accepting. So I think this just is human nature, right? The more we pay attention to something, it's so much easier for us to judge it, to assign judgment to it, to criticize it, or to notice some sort of flaw, right? So with mindfulness, it's telling you to kind of train your brain that instead of assigning judgment to what we are observing or what we are aware of, instead it's telling you to take a different route and try to meet yourself with acceptance and understanding. So if you're experiencing any difficult or big emotions during this pandemic, without mindfulness, I would say like, oh, it's just so frustrating and it's never going to end. And I don't know what to do. And everyone is just doing the wrong thing. That would be a mindless way of seeing what you're observing. But if you were to turn it around the other way and try to meet your emotions and your experiences with acceptance, you would understand like, okay, I am experiencing these really difficult emotions, and it's normal for me to experience that because I'm reacting to a threat. And that's it. It's just slightly different, but it is not so easy when you're trying to be, when you're presented with a lot of different like difficult situations. It's not easy to be mindful, and I understand that. But this step of acceptance is so important for us to move forward. So I just wanted to take a moment here to say it's a lot easier to move forward and make changes when you are aware of your experience and you accept the emotions that come with it. All right, taking a little breather here. Moving on to the survival guide. All right, mindfulness and the pandemic. I wanted to share a little bit about how mindfulness has been observed during this pandemic. And there's actually been a lot of studies conducted on the impact of mindfulness on our mental well-being for people who are experiencing lockdown. And I just want to highlight a study that they did for residents of China during the initial lockdown last year. So what they did was they studied two different groups of people. One group of people that were not practicing mindfulness, and another group of people who were practicing mindfulness for 3 weeks, just 3 weeks. And they measured levels of pandemic-related distress, measured levels of stress and anxiety. So they measured beginning of the 3 weeks and at the end of the 3 weeks. And of course, what they found was that those who practiced mindfulness experienced or reported lower levels of all three measures. So pandemic-related distress, stress, anxiety, they reported lower levels for those who were practicing mindfulness. Not only that, actually, there's one more thing that they found that the people who were already practicing mindfulness anyway, so some of the people, they were andangnya mindfulness practitioners, they found that this little group of people had lower scores compared to anyone else anyway. Yeah, so that's an interesting study that they conducted on mindfulness, and it's actually being looked at as a low-cost method of protecting our mental health. Okay, so we're using mindfulness now as a survival guide, like those people that were being studied. So we're going to be using mindfulness to be, again, aware and accepting. Let's go back to the Jamboard. What can we be aware about with our experience right now? So let's go back to that Jamboard on page 5. What are some things that we can be aware about, or what we should pay attention to? What are some things that we should pay attention to? Diet, yep. Health, our thoughts and what we consume. Very good. Health, meaning like physical and mental health. What should we pay attention to when it comes to our experience? Self-care, the people around us. Yeah, who we allow into our space, right? The people around us. We have a lot more control now, but seeing as we're at home, it really depends on how healthy your home life is and how you're able to manage that yourself. Our well-being, our sleep, yes, checking in with others, what we choose to see, sleep, sleep, sleep. Stay mentally healthy at the workplace, yeah. That really is something that I hope to see in the near future, that supervisors and managers at work who are in charge of teams at work, that they, excuse me, that they prioritize mental health. That's what I really hope to see. Healthy support system, adaptability. Yeah, how able are we to adapt to the changes, and should we beat ourselves up over it if we're not dealing with it so well? Absolutely not. It's difficult for everyone around the world, and we're learning every day as we go. Lifestyle, what we can change and what we can't. Our emotions, health, physical, mental, and spiritual. Yes, thank you for adding spiritual. Boundaries, yeah, support system. Yes, it's very, very important to be aware about what kind of support system we do have and to reach out to those support systems, because a lot of the times, I mean, especially during this pandemic, it's so easy for us to just like stay at home and wait for the help to come and then wonder, why is nobody checking on me? But that doesn't mean your support system isn't there. They are there. You have to be able to reach out to them. Sharing awareness of mental health at workplace, not only for office worker, yes, but also for site workers. Yes, that's very important. Thank you for bringing that up. What we can change and what we can't. Yeah, that's really the key of it, right? That's what we tend to forget. What are we in control of and what are we not in control of? Our mental health, definitely something that we can be in control of, something we can manage. This is what we're doing, just being here. Physical health, way too much sitting. Yep. All right. Thank you for sharing all of those. That's really good. You guys are practicing mindfulness very, very well. Try to lean in more. I like that. Lean into support. Lean into those good experiences, those healthy experiences. Yeah, and open up. Wonderful. Okay. Next is, what can we be accepting about? Next page when you're ready. Next page. What can we be accepting about? So the first step about mindfulness was awareness. You know what we should be aware about. And now, what can we be accepting about? Next page. We're still on the Jamboard, guys. What can we be accepting about? That this shall pass too. Yes, inshallah, this shall pass. Sooner than later, hopefully. Anybody else? We're on page 6. A new norm. Yes, it's a journey. If you follow More to Bloom, you will know I always use the word journey. That's because everybody is on their own journey, and you should appreciate, you know, the journey for what it is rather than focusing on that destination, because we might not know what that destination is. We can appreciate the journey for what it is. We can be accepting about no one changing me except for myself. Yes, very nice. Very admirable. Our new reality. Yeah. Accepting our emotions, even the bad ones. Yeah. So even the bad ones, they tell you something about what you're going through, right? They tell you something about what needs of yours are lacking or what needs of yours are not being satisfied. So Experiencing difficult emotions is actually a good thing if you see it as clues to tell you what you need. Can be accepting about reda and tawakal, qada and qadar, accepting that things change, have faith, we will be okay. We can accept about what we can and cannot change. Yes, acceptance about what we can change and what we cannot change. A lot of the times we're so resistant about the things that are just out of our control. We think of ways that we're just so stuck with the emotions that come with that frustration. But in that case, I always encourage people to let go about things that are not in your control. Hey, somebody just said it. Let go of things that we cannot control. Thank you. Everyone, literally the world is facing this too. Yes, this is a global pandemic. So you can literally talk to anybody in any other part of the world and they will know what you're going through, you know? And in many cases, we are in much better positions than they are with free vaccinations and very sensible government. This is that interesting. I love this. This is that interesting scene of your life's movie. Yes. This is that interesting scene. Yes. It's a very unique way of looking at it, right? Of course, there are a lot of tragedies that have happened during this pandemic. On the same scale, there's a lot of good things that have happened, you know? But all in all, it's been very interesting. And it's something that, you know, I'm sure our children and our grandchildren will be curious how we're handling this pandemic. Yeah, it definitely is a unique and unexpected situation. Be accepting of the SOPs in place. Yes. Don't be scared. Eventually, there's something beautiful coming soon. Oh, that's so lovely. Very nice. So this is amazing. So we were already very, we were sharing about what we can be aware about, and then we turned it around. We turned it around. We added some mindfulness in this process of thinking and asked ourselves, what can we be accepting about? Now, of course, this is easy to type. It's a lot different to remember it, right? That's okay. Awareness is the first step. Great. Thank you so much for that. That's amazing. All right, back to the Zoom. I just wanted to add this list of how you can further engage with mindfulness in this experience. So this, what we talked about earlier with the awareness and acceptance, truthfully, that's enough actually for you. If you put it into practice, you cultivate it, that is actually all you need to do. But if you want to do a little bit more, you want to use mindfulness as a way to check in with yourself. You're feeling a bit stuck, feeling a bit numb, don't really know what's going on inside you, where to start. Try some of these practices. And I've bolded the ones that I feel are most important, which is the meditation and the gentle observation. And funnily enough, these two also fall in line with the formal and informal way of practicing mindfulness, right? So we have meditation on the formal, and informal is just observation. Does anybody want me to clarify anything on this list? So you might be familiar with some of them, or you might already do them, but is there some that you're just like, what is that? Simply unmute yourself.
Jira, I think perhaps you could share with us what is engaging with your five senses.
Yes, sure. So engaging with your five senses. So remember earlier we talked about how important it is to tune into your physical body as well. When you're checking in with yourself, check in, am I struggling? You look at your physical body. This is something similar. So if you don't know what you're going through, then engage with your five senses. Just find a way to kind of neutralize that your kind of like your nervous system right now, even if you don't feel it, it's on high alert. It's kind of buzzing constantly just because we're so aware of what threats, what statistics we're going to hear. Are we taking the precautionary measures? Our body's stress response system is actually buzzing all the time. But if we allow ourselves to engage with our five senses, our sense of smell, with whatever we're doing, so take the time to just, what can I smell? What can I see? What can I touch in this room? What can I feel? So it's really similar to grounding. It's really allowing yourself to be present physically in the present moment using your five senses. Just to give an example, if you know Charlotte from Creative Core or Charlotte from Fly Yoga, she posted something yesterday that I really liked. It was from this book, and this book was inviting her to, basically it had a suggestion to just sit and do nothing for 15 minutes. Just sit in a chair, don't look at a phone, don't look at a book, just sit and see what you can observe. And I've been practicing mindfulness, but even that, just that bringing me back to that observation practice was quite interesting. And I immediately did it as well. I sat on my couch and I just observed. And it's really bringing you back to your present moment rather than us being on autopilot, right? Moving from one thing to the next, got to make a drink, got to make food, got to sit for this workshop. After that, I've got errands to run, so on and so on. But take that 5, 10, 15 minutes. If you're not going to meditate, use that time to engage with your senses and sit and observe. I hope that explains it a little bit more.
Yep, thank you. Just one more thing, actually. I think that's a really good point. I came across this, I guess this show on Netflix called Headspace: Introduction to Meditation. I think I chatted with you about it last time.
Yeah.
So it kind of like shared with us how to do a proper meditation. So when I thought about meditation, it's always like sitting in one position and like trying to clear your mind. But what I also gathered is that it's also trying to channel your thoughts. It's either you empty it, you channel it, or fill it up with a lot of thoughts. So it depends on what kind of meditation you're seeking, but perhaps which one is your best advice?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because meditation is usually very intimidating to people. And funnily enough, I always feel a little bit like I expect people to be giggling and stuff during meditation when I do it, when I do guided meditation for people, but people are really responsive to it. And I think it really depends on the type of meditation you do. People are usually, if you're a beginner, I would suggest a guided meditation. So that's just listening to an audio of somebody literally telling you how to kind of go further within yourself and relax your senses and kind of reach that level of neutrality. With children, though, I love teaching meditation to children. And I've done this before because I've done mindfulness programs. And with children, I like to do what I call, well, officially it's called visual meditation, but I call it happy place meditation. And what I do is I ask children first to draw their happy place. So it can be anything. It can be a candy shop. It can be a castle in the sky. It can be a beach, whatever it is, they draw it. And then I invite, me and that child will both be hosting that meditation or guiding that meditation. So it's really interesting, the different kinds of meditation. It doesn't have to be like you're sitting there like repeating a mantra or making like like we do in yoga. There's a lot of fun meditation as well out there. And my personal favorite, I would say, is that visual meditation, doing that with kids. But I encourage adults to do it too. It's very relaxing.
Awesome. Thank you, Nadzirah.
Anybody else? Just ask, unmute, or type it in chat, and I guess hopefully someone can read it out loud to me. I'll take the time to explain this bit, the choosing to respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. So there is a difference between reaction and response. And typically, we're so quick to react. We always engage with that reaction. But response is more thoughtful. We allow ourselves more space between something that happens to us or something that has triggered us or our stress response system. So if something's happening to us, we take the time, give ourselves space to breathe, 5 breaths, 10 breaths, 30 minutes before you decide what's the best way or what's the most authentic way to respond. So mindfulness is really about prolonging that space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Make that space longer.
We have a participant in the comments in the chat asking, Alia says, what is non-attachment?
Non-attachment. Non-attachment is, it's very hard for me to explain. Give me a minute. It's the concept of not allowing ourselves to become too attached to our emotions or our experiences. So for example, somebody says something to me that makes me angry. So my normal attachment reaction would be like, I'll keep that feeling of anger with me. I'll keep it until the next day, until the next day, until the, you know. And whenever I see that person, I have that feeling of anger because it's attached. I've kept it with me. But with mindfulness, the concept of non-attachment is really to allow that feeling to come to you, acknowledge it for what it is, look at it. Oh, I'm feeling angry because of what this person said. That's interesting. And then in your own time, you let it pass, you let it go. Whether or not you choose to do something about it is different. But non-attachment is really about not allowing those situations to stick to you and change and alter you. That one, to really fully understand that, I think there's so much more to talk about when it comes to non-attachment. But basically, that's it. Anybody practice mindful eating or have tried mindful eating? Or want to explain maybe what mindful eating is? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I think I'd like to share.
Sure.
So I think since this lockdown, I actually note down what food I've been eating. So I have like a food diary. So I guess that's my way of practicing a mindfulness. What do you call this? Like eating, because yeah, realizing that during this lockdown, kan makan saja, munching on snacks and all.
Yeah, that I would classify that as mindful eating, in moderation though. So there should be an element of like non-judgmental non-judgment as well when you're observing what you're eating. Typically, though, there are different ways to practice mindful eating. So one is you can be aware, like Billy's saying, you can be aware of what you're eating. You can, typically how people practice it is enjoying the textures and the tastes in their mouth and really slowing down that eating process. Really taking the time to like even close your eyes and chewing slowly and appreciating the taste. Personally, not for me. I can't do that. When I'm eating, it means I'm hungry. So I don't really practice mindful eating that way, but I do practice mindful eating in terms of using my senses. So I love smelling my food before I eat. And maybe if you've had a meal with me, you will notice like I'm always like smelling my drink, smelling my food. Yeah, that's also a way to practice mindfulness that to me is enjoyable and easier. All right. If that's all, we're gonna.
One more, Jira.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I think Carrie wants to know what do you mean by gentle observation?
Gentle observation. It's pretty much the informal practice of meditation, of mindfulness. So whatever you find yourself doing, whether it's brushing your teeth, taking a shower, cooking a meal, whatever you're doing, just observe the smells and the sounds, what you're seeing, how you're feeling, observing the state of mind you're in, just really being present pretty much in that act, which, you know, are very simple acts, very routine, everyday acts, but injecting some mindfulness into it and through this observation, it can be really therapeutic, can be very calming. So that's what I mean by gentle observation. And I've used that word gentle as well because, again, it's putting in that element of acceptance, of kindness, so that you're not observing yourself in a critical way. You're observing yourself gently and kindly. Hope that clarifies. If there's nothing else, I would like to take a break here. So we're halfway through. Oh, halfway through. We'll continue quite quickly the next steps, but take a 5-minute break and I'm gonna sort out the technical issues. All right, everyone, if you're ready, we're gonna begin the next half. Just let me know. I mean, my chat box works now, so just let me know that you're here by just typing yes, yes, yes in the chat. Yay, I finally can read. Okay, I felt so alone for a while. Okay, awesome. So you guys ready for the next half? Okay. All right. Okay, so we were talking about checking in with mindfulness. You can always ask me more at the end on how to do this, but I'm pretty sure, I don't think the focus should be on what other things you can do because I'm pretty sure you're doing at least one of these things. So don't worry too much about trying something new. Okay. So I wanted to add this little mindfulness technique on what you can do when you're feeling overwhelmed or something is happening to you and your body's kind of shutting down or shutting out. This is a mindfulness technique that I have something similar glued post it up in my office. And it helps me, it helps the children to very easily follow mindfulness steps. So anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, anytime you're feeling stressed out or anxious, try to think of this anagram, stop. So of course, the first one is stop. The second one is take a breath. I love this step the most, take a breath. O is observe and plan and proceed. So very easy to remember. Stop, take a breath, observe, and plan what you're gonna do. So we're actually gonna do that right now. We're gonna pretend that something stressful is actually happening to us right now. Well, for most of us we are going through stress and anxiety. So we'll start with stop. Stop, take a breath. So use this moment to just kind of sit in a comfortable position. Keep your spine straight and your shoulders lowered. If you need to, you can roll your shoulders back just to encourage more relaxation and looseness. So just take your time here. This is your stop. Just stop for a minute. And when you're ready, when you're comfortable in a position, just follow this little animation and take a few breaths. So inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and pause. Just take a few moments here. This is a great way for you to regulate your breathing, regulate your heartbeat. So anytime I feel anxious or stressed, even if I don't feel it, but I feel like my heartbeat is beating fast, I stop and I take a breath. All right, excellent work. Now, this is observe, observing where you are mentally, where you are using this little weather scale I've created for you. Spent a lot of time on this. So observe and acknowledge where you are on the scale. Sometimes, most of the time, trying to put words to your emotions is very difficult. That's because you're experiencing a mix of emotions, but also opposite emotions at the same time. So you can be grateful, but you can also be genuinely struggling mentally. So that's when things get very confusing. So instead of thinking about words for emotions, I like to think of the weather. So, I have a very visual imagination though. So to me, this makes sense. If I'm really struggling, like I physically won't get out of bed, I can't get out of bed, I would say that it's really stormy in my head. It's really stormy, it's foggy, I can't see anything, I can't see the light. It's just pure darkness, pure gloom. So that's how I would say on that end of the scale, that rainstormy end of the scale, like literally can't get out of bed. As you move towards the middle, it's just rain. It's where you are struggling. You are still struggling pretty badly, but you can manage to get out of bed. So you're still struggling mentally there. As we move towards the sunny end, I still put a cloud there. Number one reason is because I couldn't find a sun picture. But I also think that even on our best days, there's usually a little bit of cloud. Doesn't mean that there's nothing going if we're feeling sunny, it doesn't mean that there's nothing going badly in our lives. It's just we choose to focus on the sun. So I've put a sun with a really light cloud. And this is where you are generally doing well, but you know you want to do a little bit better. You want to still invest in your mental health and try to maintain your mental well-being. So this step, we've already stopped and took a breath. This step is the observe. So observe yourself and try to think about where you currently are on this scale. And since I have the chat, please feel free to use the chat to say where you are. Are you towards the storm, the rain, or the sun? Where are you currently? The sun. Bit towards the sun, kind of towards the sun. All right, sun. Sun. Great. So this scale you can kind of use at any time, right? Right now you might be towards the sun, another time you might be on the other end or in between. You can use this anytime. The scale hopefully is useful for you just to help you kind of visualize where you are mentally. Now, what do we do after we observe? So we did stop, take a breath, observe. Now we're doing plan and proceed. Plan and proceed what can be done within your control. We talked a lot earlier about what we can do, and we let go of what we can't control. We do what we can control. So I actually had something similar like this written down. I wrote this out on Post-it notes and I put it on my workspace to let me know that when I'm struggling a lot, where I literally am spending days in bed, can't eat, don't want to talk to anyone, shut myself out from the world, I'm on this end. And these are some survival tips, I'd say, for you when you're really struggling a lot. So all you have to really focus on when you're experiencing this is making sure you eat a filling meal, a good meal, not chips, not soft drinks, not cake, cookies. Eat a proper meal, at least one proper meal, because when you're really on this end, it's hard. I know it's hard to even eat. You don't have an appetite, you know, you don't want to get out of bed. But make sure you're just focusing on these three things. Eat a filling meal, shower. Shower usually makes you feel a little bit better just because of the sensation of the water cleaning you. It's very symbolic as well. And then talking with someone. Now, when I say talking with someone, it doesn't mean like share what you're going through, because this part you're really like, you don't want to talk with anyone really. But this part, what I just want to emphasize is just talk to someone at home. Just say, hey, have you eaten? What did you eat? Have you slept? What time did you sleep last night? Just a little small talk, a little bit of conversation, just for you to feel like you are still connecting with somebody. Okay? So I hope none of you are on this end. If you are, you're probably like listening to this from bed and half paying attention. Most people are, I would say, like between here and here, between here and here. So if you are struggling, these are some things that you can do. Basically, if you're in this middle part, you're in the struggling part, the most important thing for you to remember is, what can you do to motivate myself? That internal motivation, right? What can I do to kind of make myself like be able to achieve something and feel good about it so I can continue being a little bit more productive? So just getting yourself moving, getting yourself out of bed, stretching, moving a little bit, making yourself some food, You know, it's not about doing a whole 1 hour HIIT intensive workout. Just a little bit of movement can help a lot. Breathing practice to regulate that heartbeat if you're experiencing anxiety. Creating to-do lists. This can be really good for you if you're not really ready yet to be doing anything, but you kind of want to put yourself in that mindset of, okay, so I know what's coming up for me. And lastly, taking care of your space. So making sure your living space is clean and clear and safe for you. Just somebody's DM'd me. May I ask, how do you really differentiate struggling a lot and just struggling? I would say struggling a lot as you can't get out of bed, barely can go to work, barely can eat. And this is when I've experienced this, and I know a lot of people have experienced this as well, where your mental health just goes down the drain, and you just feel worthless, and you don't want to live, pretty much. That's when you're really, really struggling, barely can even get help. And when you're struggling, I'm not trying to kind of put any hierarchy on this, but if you're struggling, right? And this bit is you're still struggling, but you're still able to get some basic things done. You're able to make yourself a cup of coffee. You're able to make yourself some food. You have a little bit of an appetite, even if you're under eating or overeating. You're able to do little things that, you know, is not just laying in bed all day. Yeah, and you know, this list is really flexible. It's really up to you. The thing that I want to emphasize is I really stick very closely to that end, the 3 basic things for when I'm really struggling. I don't stress myself out about any other thing. I just make sure I eat and I shower and I talk to someone. If I have work to do, that really depends. I would either talk to my supervisor about what I'm going through, if that's an option, or if you're a student, your lecturer or supervisor, basically somebody who is meant to be looking out for you. Otherwise, I'll try to break down my tasks into smaller, more manageable things. But honestly, really, I can barely do anything on that end. But the middle and the raining bit and the sun bit, the things that you can do really, it's up to you. This is what suits me. When I'm struggling, I can kind of get myself moving a little bit, maybe not exercise, but I can get myself out of my room. I can start planning to-do lists. I can start kind of making my bed, you know, minimal things. It's really up to you. But the point for the middle bit is making sure that the tasks are small enough and doable enough for you to feel accomplished and motivated, that you feel like, okay, I've done that. Now what next? What's the next little step? Okay, then, you know, do better is basically your self-care. Gratitude practice is mine, journaling is mine, connecting with someone in acts of kindness, so doing something for someone else always helps me. Any questions so far about this list? You can DM me. Everyone okay then? All right. So the key to managing emotions mindfully, really, if you just want to know the basics, is we're using that awareness and awareness and acceptance. So you're not judging yourself for what you're feeling. Whatever it comes to you, let it come. Don't judge yourself. Don't criticize. Meet your emotions with patience and compassion. So you know that this will pass. Be compassionate to yourself. Be kind. And ask yourself what you need. What kind of actions do you want to take, if you want to take any? Remember the difference between reaction and response. So we're trying to lean more towards response. this is again what I find so beautiful about mindfulness, is that there really is no judgment about what you're feeling. And it really pushes you to kind of act in a more authentic way, whatever that is to you. So a quick one on how mindfulness helps you slow down ruminative thinking. So that thinking where you're like, that thought just repeats. Mindfulness helps stop this or reduce it. Helps you be aware of your thoughts and emotions, stops you from impulsive reactions. This has definitely been one I identify with, and identify less with pain. I would say, especially when you're doing meditation, funnily enough, there's this type of meditation where it's called muscle relaxation or body scan. And that allows you to pay attention and bring awareness into parts of your body that hold tension, hold pain. And again, I love very visual meditation. So I always picture that oxygen, breathing in that oxygen into those parts that are holding on to pain, holding on to tension. I breathe oxygen into those areas, and I seriously, I know the pain is still there, but I'm able to lessen the feeling of that pain, the actual sensation of the pain, how I register it, if that makes sense. I know the pain is still there. I know I still have to stretch and move, but I'm able to manage it much better. And this is what meditation actually helps with, managing pain tolerance. And I also want you to know that mindfulness is a tool, one of many tools to manage stress. But there has been emerging evidence to show that mindfulness has helped effectively deal with stress, anxiety, and pandemic-related distress. Just want to share this quote that I love. You are the sky, everything else is just the weather. Let's open the chat and see, what does this quote mean to you? How do you relate to this quote? Focus on happiness. The weather will pass. We should not let the weather affect us. Weather changes. Situation, people, and everything else comes and goes. Yeah, it's about the impermanence of your feelings and the impermanence of your thoughts. Your thoughts and your feelings might be here today. They might be here tomorrow. You know, storms, when we have stormy, rainy days, sometimes they're here today, tomorrow, a whole week, but eventually they go away, right? You are the constant. I love that. I love that saying, you are the constant. I say this all the time. We are the constant. The only constant is you. And there needs to be a you that is not your emotions, that is not your thoughts. There is a you that exists beyond that. We can't control the weather, but weather changes. So just let it happen. Yes, beautifully said. Yeah. So you are the sky. Anything can come and go, but you still remain. You are the constant. All right. I can achieve anything that I desire. All the disruption is there. Beautiful. All right. Moving onwards. So just wrapping things up. Things to remember about mindfulness. Take a break. Always take a break. Take a breath. Even if it's one deep breath before you start anything big, before you sit at work, before you have your cup of coffee, take a deep breath. Enjoy that moment for what it is. Be present, slow down and be present. Allow for failure. This happened to me where once I finished my mindfulness training, I felt like I was on top of the world, like I'm never going to make another mindless mistake ever again in my life. Wrong. I was failing like all the time. I was being mindless all the time. And unfortunately, when you leave this session, you are going to find, if you're observing yourself, that you are failing. That's a natural part of life, but I just want to explain why it might seem like you're failing a lot when you decide to practice mindfulness. And simply said, it's because you're observing yourself a lot more. So you're paying attention to a lot of your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings. And it feels like you're being mindless a lot, but that awareness is you being mindful as well. So again, being mindful is not about being relaxed or calm. It's just about being aware of your experience. Baby steps, and again, be kind to yourself. Yeah, but I'll emphasize, take a breath. Take a breath. All right. So far, we learned a lot today. What people are struggling with, how to know if I'm struggling, basics of mindfulness. The first two, it's not really something that you might have learned new, but we really shared and we really tried to dig out our experiences and what we feel about our experiences and seeing them in a kind of a different light. Then we looked at what mindfulness was and how to use the survival guide, that little weather scale and the stop, and then how to manage my emotions. All right, this is where I want to end, focusing on the positive aspects. Let's move back to the Jamboard, guys. There is one last page I want us to fill up. So opening up the Jamboard to the last page, it says, despite it all, some of the positive experiences I've had were learning new things, reconnection with old friends, new hobbies. Can you share what your new hobbies are? Yes, found my inner strength and resilience. It's always been there, but you took it and you used it. I'm more grateful with what I have and who I have. That's awesome. I'm so grateful. I'm so glad for you. Spending more time with family, finding a community online during this time who are equally as committed to building better. Yes, this is something I'm also very happy with. I've been meeting so many amazing people, and for me too, reconnecting with this team, this YSEALI team who helped organize this. I was telling them I'm nervous, but a lot of that nerves is from excitement from working with them again. Yeah, appreciate company of family. That's nice. Crochet is a really big thing now. A lot of people shared crochet, and I really want to see your products. I've been asked. I did this same session with UBD, and I think 5 people shared that they crochet. I'm still waiting for those pictures. Being more tech savvy. Ooh, new hobbies, growing plants. I like that. Finding joy with being by myself, more self-reflection, more me time. I get to build a healthy new relationship with my partner, circles, and fam. Awesome. Learning art for stress therapy. I love that. I love art. I love painting. Exploring more new things I've been intimidated to try. Ooh, what were some of the new things? Can you share? Lost weight. Gaining a supportive partner. That's great. I'm happy for you. Grateful for my health. Yes, alhamdulillah, for my health and the vaccinations I've been getting. Writing plays. Is that insan? Reconciliation with loved ones. That's so sweet. I'm learning a lot of recipes. What recipes? I really wish, you know, I always do the sharing session of what amazing things people are doing. Oh, fall in love. Yeah, I always do this bit where we share what we've been doing, and I just wish we had, like, I don't know, that we can see some of these things and like really hype each other up. Exercising more to boost mood. Oh, caring for myself better. Amazing. I tried working out, albeit small steps. Yeah, small steps. Sometimes I just do 5 minutes. Made friends here in Brunei, keeping me out from being lonely and looking forward to make more. You have friends here with us, whoever you are. You definitely have friends here with us. Just connect with us, yeah? Realizing that it's okay to slow down. Oh my gosh. It's not only okay, it's much needed. Yeah, it's much needed to slow down in such a busy world. Very true. Having a wonderful, supporting, and loving partner. I'm so glad. All right. This is awesome. Writing more. We have a whole document filled with amazing things that you guys are doing, and that's really awesome. All right. One last little thing, guys, before we go. So, yep, you guys have shared this, pretty much everything. I want to invite you to share what you learned today with other people, whether or not you think that mindfulness is something that can help you. I'm really hopeful that it can, or that you identify at least with one small thing that I've mentioned. But it's really an important step if you want to cultivate mindfulness, is that you share this with people around you, with your circle, with your family. You don't even have to call it mindfulness, right? It's just mental health, self-care. You can use those words. Feelings, taking care of feelings, being aware of your feelings, journaling. These practices, share it with your friends, your family. The more you share, you know, the more you're able to keep each other in check and keep each other accountable. And in your own little way, I hope that you can be an advocate of mental health and mindfulness, whether it's speaking on a platform such as this or speaking just to one close friend or family member. I hope that you feel inspired today to share mindfulness and how it can help us protect our mental health during this time. And if you're still needing more support, of course, those are some important contacts that you should know. Apart from that, that's all from me. Feel free to contact me if you need to learn any more. So Nazato said, is it okay for us to screenshot? I'm gonna share the Jamboard with everyone. I mean, I'll give you access to it. So you can continue adding, but I really hope you don't delete anybody else's. You can continue adding. I will remove the editing capabilities in a few days, but you're free to add more to it. It's for everybody.
All right. I think we'll wrap it up now.
Yes.
Thank you, Jira, first of all, for facilitating such an important session. Thank you as well to the participants for tuning in. I hope this shed some light to the world of mindfulness and provided you all with the tools to make your journey through the pandemic a little bit easier. Once again, thank you for facilitating, and thank you to the US Embassy for the support. You would like to contact Jira, the social medias are on the screen. Follow More to Bloom .bn on Instagram, as well as follow YSEALI SAV if you guys want more information. We will be sharing the recordings and photos and other materials over email. And lastly, take a breath, stay present, be kind to yourself, and have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. I will definitely share the PowerPoint. I'll share it through the team. Can I please ask that you help fill in a feedback form? It will also be hopefully in the email. Is it okay, Hizam? I'll send you the link and you share it with everybody.
Yep, we can do that.
All right. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Please keep in touch. Please keep in touch and let me know how it's going for you. Whether you just want to share pictures of your plants. I love plants so much. Or your crochet, whatever you're doing. Thank you. Thank you, by the way, guys. The team, Afik, Jimmy, Hizam, and Jim.
Thank you very much, Nadzirah, and yeah, very excited. Yeah, I think Hizam has wrapped up very well, and I think just want to give it some time. I think BD have shared in the chat from the US Embassy Public Affairs team. Just I know some of everyone is already left, but I think just to remind everybody as well. Again, thank you very much, Jira, for being an awesome speaker and for everyone for participating. It's been really insightful and very helpful. So if you guys are posting anything, post it up, and don't forget to tag at US Embassy BSB on Instagram. Follow the embassy on social media too. There are several platforms. Perhaps you guys are on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. They're available there. And if you wish to learn more about opportunities like small grants, exchange programs, Education USA, from the US Embassy in Brunei, visit the webpage. There's the https //bn.usembassy.gov/. Again, you're welcome to join the YSEALI Opportunities group on WhatsApp, mostly on opportunities and announcement from YSEALI and the embassy. So click on the WhatsApp link, and again, you guys will get a lot of information and insights, I believe updated by Billy, to share about any updates on the US Embassy programs. It's been very insightful, and I just want to say thank you very much, everybody. This would conclude the last session of our YSEALI Sharing a Vision, everybody, and we've been very proud and happy to run this event for a year now. Didn't realize the time has passed, right? So again, thank you very much, everybody, for the support, and this topic is very much needed. Very good topic, and something for us to be mindful as well, pun intended. Okay, so with that, I want to say thank you very much, everybody. And if you guys want to stay and get the links, please stay for a bit. If you guys want to just share your points or thoughts, just jump in the chat box or just open up your audio, all right? So yeah, we'll be here for the next few minutes before we close in, all right? So with that, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And thank you for being part of our YSEALI Sharing a Vision journey for safe connect and, of course, safe exploration. Take care. See you all.
Afik, don't go yet. Can we take a photo of this team?
Oh,
with
sure.
Jim and with Billy.
Yeah, no worries. Whoever is still in the room, yeah, you guys can switch on your cameras. Let's take a quick shot.
Hi. Hi, Insan. And you guys, if for those who are still here, if you have any questions, just DM me and yeah, or email me. Okay. Big smile.
All right, Jim, let's do your thing.
All right. I'm just gonna screenshot the video recording at this point. So
okay.
Yeah. So at the count of three.
No worries. We'll share some of you guys the photos. Anyways, we got some of the shots earlier as well. But yeah.
Is everyone? Yeah, everyone who's comfortable sharing, opening the video, will smile, and at the count of three, 1, 2, 3. All right. Maybe a thumbs up with everyone. Right. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. Amazing. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye, Nadzirah. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Bye.